Good afternoon, one and all. Today we are going to start with the new lesson, human health and diseases. We write the good thought on the board, the health is wealth. If you want to keep our health as good as possible, then we have to take a lot of precaution. We are well known about the different pathogens. Pathogens means what? Disease causing organism, like the lower organism, bacteria, virus, fungus. These are the pathogens. They invade in our body with the help of different medium, like the contaminated water, contaminated food, contaminated air. So these are the mediums. With the help of that, they get entry in our body. If we want to keep our health as good as possible, then we have to keep the hygienic condition as good as possible. So let us start with the definition of the health. The health is defined as a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being, and not merely to be absence of the disease or the infirmity. So for avoiding the health, we have to keep the hygienic condition as good as possible. So there are certain the rules are there to keep our health as hygienic, being well as possible. So let us say about which are the factors or which are the things we have to follow. Those are said to be necessary to keep our health as good as possible. The first, which is said to be hygienic balanced diet. In our day-to-day life, we eat different types of the food material. Within that, the different food constituents are present, like carbohydrate, proteins, vitamins, fats, minerals. So all type of the food constituent, those should be present in our diet. Then that diet which is said to be balanced diet. And first of all, it should be having hygienic condition well-being. The second foremost, it is said to be clean drinking water. To achieve the good health, therefore, all these first two factors are said to be essential. We have the two types of the life, like the personal life and our social life, and in both cases, personal as well as the social or community, hygienic condition should be good enough. As far as our routine is concerned, we wake up in the early morning, we brush our teeth, then we bath, then we do the activities. So whichever kind of the day-to-day routine we normally do in our life, so we normally take a lot of precaution. So to achieve the good health, we have to do the regular physical exercise, because in our life, the regular physical exercise, our good diet, these are the main two factors are essential for the keeping our life as good as possible. So in this particular certain pictures, the kids are there, they are doing different types of the exercise. At least within a whole day, we have to do the 1 hour regular exercise. So exercise keep our health good, mental, social. So all types of the aspects, those are essential for good health. Those are given by our balanced diet and the regular exercise. The knowledge about the disease and their effects on the body and the control of the vectors. We are well known about the vectors, like the vectors, we call them as the disease spreading factors. Okay, like the flies, different mosquitoes. Okay, we call insect. These are said to be vector, and they normally spread the different types of the and disease, and they make us ill as early as possible. So proper disposal of the waste as well. The household garbage, the two different types of the garbage get created, like the wet garbage, then the dry garbage, we have to separate them. again the biodegradable, non-biodegradable, e-garbage, the electronic certain the materials get created, we call it as a e-garbage. So basically whichever kind of the materials are said to be recycled, like the plastic, like the certain the ionic materials, those we have to glass, those we have to recycle over there, and the garbage, the biodegradable, non-biodegradable, we have to separate them. Let us say about the which factors are essential for good health. The first of all, it is said to be balanced diet, as we have discussed earlier, clean drinking water, then personal and the community hygiene. So personal and the community hygienic condition is said to be so essential. Regular exercise, knowledge of the disease, control of the vectors, and the proper disposal of the waste. So these are the certain the factors are essential for keeping our health as good as possible. Basically we suffer from the different pathogenic infection, and for avoiding certain the infection we have highly specialized the system in our body. It is said to be immune system. Okay, so this particular immune system, it just try to defend against the pathogenic infection. The system which protect us from the various infectious agent is called as the immune system. As I told you earlier, the pathogens like the bacteria, like the virus, fungus, they are infecting the different types of the diseases. Okay, and initially our body, which is just give the resistance to spread the infection. Okay, that type of the immunity we have. So resistance is the ability to prevent the damage or the diseases through the defense mechanism. So let us say about the immunity. So immunity is the resistance exhibited by most toward the injury caused by the pathogenic, and their product is known as a immunity. So in our body we have highly specialized the immune cell, we call them as a WBC cell. Those are acting as a soldier cell. They fight against the pathogenic infection. So the concept of the immunity is believed to be started by the Edward Jenner scientist. We are well known about it. He developed certain the vaccine against the cowpox virus. So different scientists, they work together. Immunology, it is a kind of the branch of biology which deals with the study of immune system, immune response to the foreign substance, and their role of resisting infection by the pathogens. Okay, so let us see about the antigen and the antibody. So when antigen means what? When the foreign body gets entry in our body by different mediums, like the contaminated water, contaminated air, contaminated food material, then our immune system, which is get stimulate over there, it is said to be antigen. And the antibody means what? So in our body we have highly specialized the immune cell, we call them as a WBC cell, and they synthesis certain the chemicals, those are said to be essential to fight against the pathogen, and that type of the chemical is said to be antibody. So antigen, antibody, these are said to be very important biological term to keep our the health. Those are said to be related to our the health. So for avoiding or the certain the other infections by the we call it as a pathogenic infection, our immunity system work almost 20 to 24 hours. So let us see about the types of the immunity. There are main two types of the immunity: innate immunity, acquired immunity. So innate immunity, which is said to be inborn immunity, we get it from our parents. Acquired immunity, which is said to be we get it, it is said to be temporary. It is get it from our the different types of the medicines, whichever kind of the intake we intake by certain the medical prescription. Okay, so the question used to ask in the exam, distinguish between the innate immunity and the acquired immunity. We should know it. with the help of these points we can easily distinguish between them. So first of all we can say the innate immunity is an inborn immunity, and the we get it from our the birth. So we get it from our parents, we can say that, and the after birth whichever kind of the chemical we intake, so with the help of that immunity we get, it is said to be the acquired immunity. Then second point, non-specific defense mechanism. So it is having certain the specific type of the defense mechanism. It means that so innate immunity which is work up to the 24 hours, so it works up to the our last breath of our life, and the acquired immunity which is having certain the working mechanism up to the certain the period. So whichever kind of the medicine we intake, it has certain the ability to just recover our body from the infection as early as possible. So it has certain the working effects up to that it works over there. So third point we can say that do not have specific memory, it retains their immunological memory. Then fast and immediate action, innate immunity it normally does, and the acquired immunity delay observe between the antigen exposure to and the responses. Okay, so basically once we intake the medicine, then it normally dissolve in the blood, then it reaches to the target site, then it start to work over there. So it requires certain the time to work. Fourth point we can say that fifth point, operate by the providing barrier against the entry of pathogen, and it produces the primary and secondary responses mediated by B and T lymphocyte cells. So with the help of this point we can easily separate them. Let us see about the immunity and its types. The immunity, the innate immunity and the adaptive immunity. If we just look at toward the adaptive immunity, we have natural and the artificial. Again in the natural, two subtypes are there, like the passive and the active. In the artificial as well, active and the passive. It is totally depend on how exactly it works. Okay, so natural immunity we have, it is said to be innate immunity. It normally works up to the 24 hours. If suppose any pathogenic infection takes place and it works, then pathogenic infection recover automatically, then it is said to be active over there. Sometime our innate immunity become as a lower than the pathogenic infection power, then it may not works. Okay, our body shows different symptoms, then that innate immunity may not work properly. So that type of the immunity is said to be passive. But as far as the artificial immunity is concerned, the active, when it is said to be active, when we intake the medicine, then it start to defend against the pathogenic infection. It works according to the medical dose or the medical prescription medicine dose, then it is said to be active. If may not be work at the right time, if the pathogenic power is more, then it is said to be the passive. Then we require certain the ready-made antibody. Then doctor give us the ready-made antibody with the help of injections or maybe by providing certain the saline. So innate immunity which is works up to the certain the epithelial surface, antimicrobial substance, then active phage protein, then fewer and cellular factors. Let us see about the one by one. So epithelial surface, we have the superficial layer of the skin, so skin, mucous membrane, cough reflex, acid and the gastric juice, urine, then the sperm, tears. Then let us see about the one by one. First of all we are going to see the skin. The healthy skin possesses their bacterial activity due to the presence of high concentration of the salt in the drying sweat. Then B, the sebaceous secretion, long chain of the fatty acid have bactericidal and fungicidal properties. Especially in the skin, the two different types of the glands are associated, like the sweat gland, sebaceous gland. The sweat gland, it normally give rise to certain the waste material it is said to be sweat. Sebaceous, it gives rise the sebum, and both have certain the potential or certain the working mechanism as like the bactericidal or fungicidal properties. Okay. The second, it is said to be nasal cavity. We do the respiration or inhalation exhalation process with the help of nasal cavity. Especially in that particular case, the nose prevent entry of the microorganism, the inhaled particles through the arrested with the help of certain the hairs. So we have the hairs, those are crisscross in nature, those are arranged in the crisscross nature to the inner lining of the nose. They trap out certain the foreign material during the respiration time or the inhalation period. Okay. Then the next, which is said to be the cough. The cough reflex is an important defense mechanism by the respiratory tract. If suppose we suffer from certain the viral infection, then we cough over there. It means that the cough is a kind of the certain the chemical within that certain the microorganism may get restricted to get inside, to get inner infection. Okay. Next, mouth is a constantly bathed with the saliva. It gives rise the wet nature to the mouth, then which is having inhibitory effect on the microorganism. Then stomach, the acidity of the gastric secretion in the stomach destroy the microorganism. So to the inner lining of the stomach we have certain the gastric gland. They secrete the diluted hydrochloric acid, especially in the adult human being. 2 liter dilute hydrochloric acid secreted per day. Basically that type of the acid which is useful to just destroy certain the pathogens. Those are comes along with the food material. Then urine, flushing action of the urine eliminate bacteria from the urethra. Then semen, then spermine or the zinc present in the semen having the antibacterial properties. Next, which is said to be eyes, we are well known about the conjunctiva. So basically certain the contagious or the pandemic diseases, we are well known about it. Conjunctiva, this type of the disease we normally suffer by certain the foreign particles. Those are having flushing action in the lacrimal secretion. Okay, eyes become as a susceptible to the infection. Then tear contains their antibacterial substance like the lysozyme. We are well known about it. Those are said to be suicide bags. If suppose so the basically our eyeball, those are said to be wet in condition. Tears gland, they give rise the wet nature to the our eyeball, and those are said to be open. Those are normally opens over there. Then we wipe out with the help of over the eyelids. Okay. So basically what exactly happen in the air, if suppose different types of the dust particle, foreign material, those are present and they stick out to the eyeball surface, then they just destroy with the help of lysozymes. Okay. Then these are said to be thermolabile, having low molecular weight, basic protein which acts as a, that is muramidase. Lysozyme, those are said to be active only against some of the pathogenic, those are said to be gram positive bacteria. So let us see the antimicrobial substance in the blood and the tissues, that is complement system and the interferon. Let us see about the complement system. So our blood, which is having this type of the system, it contains almost 30 serum proteins circulating in the blood in the inactive state. The presence of the microbial pathogens activate the complement cascade to eliminate the pathogens, and the interferon, those are said to be the class of this cytokines, means what, soluble protein released by the cell infected with the viruses and certain white blood cell to stimulate other cell to protect themselves from the viral infection. Silver factor in the innate immunity, among them phagocytic cell and the natural killer cell. Phagocytic cell, the natural defense against the microorganism. They have certain if the foreign particles those get invade in the our body, then they get enter in the blood, then immediately the phagocytic cell, they make them surrender and they just destroy them, digest them. Phagocytic cell discovered by the Markinov scientist in the 1882. They just remove the foreign particles from the entry of the body. So it is shown in the diagrammatic representation, that is phagocyte nature, amoeba which is having phagocytic nature, then the virus infected cell, look at the nature, then the tumor cell. The class of lymphocyte cell, those are said to be killer cell or natural killer cell. It is important, non-specific defense against the virus infection and the tumor. If suppose any pathogenic infection, once it is get started, then our body shows a different symptom like the fever. Then in actual the fever condition, what exactly happens, let us see. The increase in the body temperature and the following the infection is called the natural defense mechanism. Especially in the fever time, our body temperature becomes high. It helps to accelerate the physiological processes to destroy the invading pathogens. Sometimes pathogenic infection takes place if we are suffering from the fever. During our body, physiologically, it does their working mechanism automatically to destroy the pathogenic infection with the help of that heat. The fever stimulates the production of the interferons and the help of the recovery from the viral infection. Next, which is said to be acute phase protein. When the infection occurs in the injured cell, it leads to the certain increase the concentration of certain plasma protein. It is said to be acute base protein. So it includes CRP, we call C-reactive protein, then mannose binding protein, alpha-1 acid, glycoprotein, serum, amyloid P, etc. Then it enhances the host resistance, prevent the body injury, then they promote their repair of the inflammatory lesion. So up till now we have seen about the how exactly the innate immunity, its barriers, innate immunity in detail. We have seen about its barrier, epithelial surface, as we have seen in earlier time, then the antimicrobial proteins, complement system and interferons. Third, we have seen about the cellular factors, phagocytic cell, natural killer cell. Then we have seen about the fever and the acute plasma protein. Okay, so we normally say the health is wealth. Take care of it and boost our immune system so that we can keep our health as good as possible, because it is said to good health is a kind of the characteristics of the good human being. Okay, so we have to be health conscious and we have to keep our fitness as good as possible. Thank you.